I'm Jim Mathers from the Digital Cinema Society. We're at our DCS Cine Lens Day, and we're now going to talk about zooms, for the love of zooms. In my last essay for DCS, I wrote about the history and my rationale for using zooms. My wife, Charlene, who's the executive director of DCS, joked that I should have called it For All the Zooms I've Loved Before. And I have used zooms from all you guys. Well, not DZO, because those are new, but over the years I've used them all. And I grew up shooting 16 millimeter and video, so I was used to having a lot of range on my zooms and being able to handhold. And then I moved into features, and I got some large lenses, Cook and Angenieux, but they're beautiful lenses, but you couldn't handhold those. So I had to have primes, and when I would go to the primes when I needed more stop or, a little bit better quality, or mostly when I had to handhold. But the cameras have gotten lighter, the zooms have gotten smaller, there's servos built into the zooms now, and the quality has gotten much better. So there's no reason not to use a zoom so much anymore. So I'd like to introduce some of the experts that I have here. Miles Jorge from Fujinon, David Doko from Canon, Jeremy Lynn from DZOFILM, Jorge Jimenez from Sigma, Jean-Marc Bouchut from ZEISS. Miles, let's start with you. We are actually shooting with one of your Duclos lenses here. It's a 24 to 300, and that is how fast? A 2.9?
9, yes.
Yeah, 2.9, and that's we're shooting Super 35 today, but you could flip a switch and convert it to also be shooting large format. So a really terrific innovation, and it's hand-holdable. It's light enough, and to put on a, whatever. So Miles, tell us about your lenses and what do you have that's new for us?
Fujinon started building zoom lenses back in 1962. We first started building PB lenses, and actually I've been with the company for 40 years, so I've seen our lenses go from tube cameras to CCD cameras to HD cameras, 4K and now 8K, I guess. But anyway, back in 2002, we built our first Cine zoom lens. They were 2/3 inch B4 mount lenses for, at that time, it was a Sony F900 camera. We built those Cine zooms actually at the request of George Lucas for Star Wars Episode 3. He was one of the first to use digital cameras on big feature film. Since then, we've gone into the PL mount Cine zooms. We started building those back in, it would be 20 years ago, probably. The first lenses we built were our big Premier zooms. Then from there, we went to our Cabrio family of lenses, Cabrio zoom lenses. The idea behind the Cabrio lenses was to try to get the crossover from the broadcast industry into the cinema market.
Take the best of both worlds.
Right. So what we did is we built a compact Cine zoom with a hand grip servo drive. So the people from the broadcast industry were familiar with using something like that for handheld applications. It was convincing the cinema market that this is something that people would accept. Funny story is we first showed our 90 to 90 Cabrio to Denny Claremont. Denny had always been one of the first to buy any of our Cine zoom lenses. When we first showed him that lens, he loved the optical quality, but he said, my clients will never need this hand grip. So he asked his people to build a case for the lens, but build it without the hand grip, just for the lens only. And of course, the very first job that he got, the customer wanted the hand grip.
And they never took them off once they get used to it, because it's really terrific. You don't have to worry about sliding gears or anything like that.
And the thing,
flipping rings.
Right. And the thing that's nice about our family of Cine Zooms is that with our Cabrio line and all of our lines of our lenses, the pitch, the position of the gears are the same between each lens. So if you want to swap out a lens and you're using it in a Cine style, the position is already set up.
And it works with all the PTZ brands, right?
Right.
Let's bring up Tim Smith now. Tim Smith is with Angenieux Americas, and he's going to tell us about their zooms.
Hello. We have a full line of zooms from reasonable to really stupid expensive. And they're on every kind of a project. I think what we've seen over the last years from the older days when we were kids, zooms were heavy and slow. And that's not the case anymore. So people they're fast and they're lightweight and they're 5 pounds and 6 pounds. And how much is the weight of your new one?
5.5.
Yeah. So, I mean, we used to have primes that weighed that much or more. So zooms are being thought of as variable primes these days. You know, it's possible to shoot with just a zoom and not have primes on a set. It's being done. So it's a whole different thing to consider. Don't get me wrong, I still love primes, and they're beautiful, but the zooms are not what they were before. So anyway, Angenieux, long story short, we have a full line of zooms. We have the 12x, which is a legendary lens in terms of filmmaking. The two new ultra compacts are both under 6 pounds. They're multiple. They come with relays, so they can be either Super 35 or full frame. So the one lens handles both. We also have the Easy series, which Easy 1, 2, and now the Easy 3, which will give you focal lengths from very wide all the way up to 250 millimeters. They are also either full frame or Super 35, but they are also TL, EF, RF, and E-mount. And it takes, everybody here can change the mount in 2 seconds. It's not a lens tech thing. So you can change the relay yourself. Come over afterwards, I'll show you how to do it. You need one screwdriver and you've changed it. So those are really practical lenses. So, yep. And Angenieux has been around since The Wizard of Oz. So we're still here.
David Doko.
I think, as filmmakers, we quite a while ago, we always relied on primes for the optimal image quality, and that's, the cinematic look, shallow depth of field. And so now with these modern zooms, like Tim just mentioned, we have now evolved where really a lot of these zooms can act as variable primes, and just to have just one or two lenses rather than a whole case of lenses where you have to, of course, change them out all the time can be a real time saver. That's just a kind of an obvious point that probably most of you know. So Canon has had a broad range of broadcast and cinema zooms. Many of them are servo now, and they serve a wide variety of markets, from our 15 to 120 to the 17 to 120 and 25 to 50. I can go on. However, what I'd like to focus on just for this audience is that we have developed these new zooms called the Flex zooms, and they range in full frame from 20 to 50 to 45 to 135. But they have a relay kit, like some of our competitors, and you can change that to a Super 35 version of those zooms from 14 to 35 and from 31.5 to 95 millimeter. So what that gives you is it gives you the fastest Super 35 millimeter zooms out there at a T1.7 when you do that conversion. So that's just very important, really minimal breathing, and I just wanted to highlight that the look of it, again, really, we're trying to match the look of the primes and that they act as variable primes. Thank you.
Jeremy Lynn for DZOFILM.
So I'm representing DZO today, and I'm coming at this more from a producer side of things because I do more producing than anything else. As a producer, I love zooms because I'm saving time on production. I'm saving money for sure. And with modern zooms, they almost like variable primes. I mean, it's really hard to convince me to go primes almost because I know what I'm saving on the production side. Obviously, if I have the team, if I have the money and the time, yeah, I'm going to do primes. But at this stage, the money is so hard right now, right? And if you're a DP, if you're trying to convince a producer to use primes, it's going to be tough. Just to say that. And on the other side of this, especially referring to DZO, because they have the Cata Zoom, they have the Cata Ace. They're very small. They're very lightweight. They've got great range. And as a producer, if you're trying to convince me to go with this lens set or this lens set or this lens set, 95% of producers can't tell the difference. They really can't. I know you can, but you put the images next to each other, I probably couldn't tell what lens company they're from. So as far as my perspective, what's going to save time, what's going to save money, and really that's why I love modern zooms. They really can just, you can really cut down on a lot of stuff.
So that's the filmmaker's perspective.
Yes.
That's Jeremy Lynn for DZOFILM. Thank you very much. Jorge Jimenez, you're representing Sigma. Can you tell us about your zooms? And I know you have some modern ones that mix electronics, full frame, and into a cinema lens.
Yeah, so Sigma, I believe, got into the Cine Lens market in 2016, and they took a lot of thought into what they had already done with their art series, lenses and the contemporaries, and with the zooms, we only offer 3 different zoom lenses at this time: the 18-35, which is a workhorse. And it's a super 35, the 24-35, which is a full frame lens, and then the 50-100. So those 3, everyone here talked about it. Having a zoom lens with prime-like capabilities is very important. And when Sigma created these lenses, they did so, to make it accessible to those in run and gun type situations and in studio type setting. So accessibility, build quality, they're tanks. You can put a beating to them, but they're very light. I think they're just under 4 pounds. So they're very light lenses. They're very versatile, sharp, and accessible. So I'm fairly new to Sigma, and I've had a lot of fun, getting my hands on them. And one of the most exciting things with Sigma is constantly looking at feedback from the filmmaker community. So at IBC, they introduced a concept 28-45 Cine Lens with autofocus capabilities. Very well received, very lightweight. And again, it's taking a look at what's changing in the content creation landscape and figuring out what they can do to put a product that serves many needs. But right now it's concept because feedback from the community is important. So a lot of the feedback that they're getting, they're taking back and figuring out ways to make it so that they can bring it to market. Thank you.
And next we have Jean-Marc Bouchut. And Jean-Marc's been with us from the very beginning. Now he's with ZEISS, and he has some really exciting news. We have a world premiere of a new zoom lens that Jean-Marc's going to tell us about.
Sure, yeah. So just to come back to your introduction about the kind of use of a zoom, I just saw that this morning here, Enrique Del Rio had that kind of like a small camera with a zoom on it. And it happened that's one of the original zoom built in the 1950s by a French company called Sam Berthiau's. It's a Pansiner. So it took really more than 50 years for industrial to build zoom. The cinema started in the late 1800s, and it really started in the 50s when, Sam Berthiau's and then Angenieux and then Canon and Fujinon and ZEISS really started to build high-quality, high-performance zoom that can be used on the film camera. So in terms of, modern zoom, we really kind of want to introduce new zoom because, It's part of the storytelling of cinema. And we have today like the world premiere of a new zoom, which is called like a Supreme Radiant zoom. So they are really based on high quality, high performance, full frame zoom, but have characteristic. We have another panel about just lens characteristic. We want to build like just a unique look on this zoom in order for the artist, the cinematographer, to create a very appealing, very new look. And that's something that's needed in the world of cinema.
Well, thank you. Does anybody want to talk about what's coming next in zoom lenses?
Well, there is a lot of things that, that zoom can do. And one of the things is also introducing metadata into these lenses that can be used for a lot of additional features. Virtual production is a big thing today. A lot of people are using the lenses for creating a content, but adding additional features on the lens, camera tracking, shooting in front of a LED wall, really required to have data coming from the lens. And that can really help to really match the content you are adding virtually in the background of the normal scene. So all just more modern lenses, including this new zoom, have just data coming from the lens that can communicate all the position of the zoom iris, plus what we call extended data, shading and distortion that are really critical for modern type of productions.
Yeah, well, I know that growing sensor sizes are important, and we have a whole panel on that. But there's a lot happening now with that. Like I was saying with Fujinon has a Duo series that covers Super 35 or with the flip of a switch. You guys have an easy switch. Canon has an easy switch with their Flex. And ZEISS has always been full frame, so we don't worry about them. Anything you want to add, guys?
No, what he's talking about with using having lenses that can work with multiple sensor sizes is truly a big deal. It's really important that everybody get on board with that. We have a 12 by lens, which is over $100,000, but it comes with full frame, Super 35, and U35 backs to it. So that lens works with everything. If you don't have that in a lens you own, it will be obsolete. And lenses usually were never obsolete. If I bought a set of Canon K35s in 1977 when I graduated from high school, I could have paid for college selling them now. But they're going to be obsolete. They've got to be able to work with everything. It used to be everybody made lenses to fit basically 2 cameras. Now they're all over the place. And we're going to talk about later, sensor size, they've got to match that. So I kind of see all of us, except for you in the end, going to lenses that have flexibility when it comes to sensor size. That's, I think, the next big push for lens manufacturers, that we all get on board with that. So I know Canon's there and we're there, but you guys have got to be doing that at this point. So
thank you all very much. Thank you on the panel. And I thought I knew everything about zoom lenses, but maybe not. I think I learned a few things. Thank you.